You guys have said you prefer watching the longer form recaps, and I prefer making the longer form recaps, so let's talk about Money in the Bank. This was a particularly fun PLE. I usually watch with a select group of people, the people who got me into wrestling in the first place, and I love watching with them. But this time I got to watch with two non-wrestling fans, my brother-in-law and my sister-in-law, and so they're completely new to wrestling, have never seen a match before, and this was their first one. And I think it was a good one, honestly. It's like being a little kid again, where you're like telling someone about your favorite superhero, right? Like Rhea Ripley comes out, and I'm like, that's my favorite one. That one. She has superpowers. It's just a really funny, like childlike joy. And I 100% understand all of the people who get excited to tell me about wrestling and their favorite wrestlers. I get it now. I've gotten it for a while, but it is especially fun when you're with someone who's completely new to it, which I'm not completely new to it anymore. I'm still new, but not completely anymore. So it was a lot of fun to watch that way. And it was a pretty good night of matches. I was very engaged with this particular PLE. The last Money in the Bank that I watched last year, I don't remember a lot about it, but I do remember this is kind of one of those PLEs for me that I'm always going to enjoy, particularly because it's a ladder match and I find that to be interesting, and just the implications of what's next. Okay, someone has a briefcase, what does this mean for the rest of the story, etc. But we also had some good matches outside of that, so let's start from the beginning. We have the women's ladder match. It was so good. The women's matches literally never disappoint for me. So for the women's match, we had Alexa Bliss, Rhea Ripley, Roxanne Perez, Julia, Naomi, of course, and Stephanie Vaquer. So already a completely stacked roster. I don't think I would have been upset with anybody on the roster to be in this particular match, but like, my God, this was a great set of women to have in the ring together. There was one point where they were burying Rhea with ladders, which I thought was really funny, as if you could contain her. There was another point which Stephanie Vaquer did the Devil's Kiss to Rhea on the ladders, which I think was phenomenal. I'm sure everyone, Booker T was losing his mind wherever he was that night. We are truly in a beautiful point in wrestling where we get to have Stephanie and Rhea in the ring together, and we're just in everything is good right now, I'm personally very happy with where everything is at. If you get Sol Ruca on the main roster, I will be beside myself. This will be fully stacked for me. For this one, I had predicted Roxanne to win. I didn't have any huge basis for that, and to be honest with you, please don't kill me, but I had not been keeping up with wrestling for the last month, basically, just because life is busy, and setting aside at least 6 hours a week to be able to keep up with stuff and watch is difficult at this point in my life. So was not able to make an informed prediction for any of these matches, at least the ones that I knew about. But I just said Roxanne because I was like, she's doing stuff. I feel like that would be great. I was pleasantly surprised, and I guess not super surprised, this was my second pick, to see that Naomi won. And Instagram comments that I have seen have been very divided on this particular pick. I personally am a huge fan of Naomi. I think the work she's doing right now as a heel is so good. She's a great wrestler. She's a great actress. And people are supposedly very upset about this, but I think this makes for something super interesting. So I was happy that she won. I'm glad Rhea didn't win. Rhea doesn't need a briefcase. Okay, she's her own woman. She good without a briefcase. She's gonna have another title shot. And even if she doesn't, the stuff she's doing is already interesting, right? I don't know. I think she's just doing good work, and the people who don't like Naomi, whatever, dude. The next match on the card was super fun. There's no surprise that I love Dirty Dom, and this one came actually at Worlds Collide. I didn't even realize it was happening until maybe an hour before the show. Obviously, Worlds Collide happened just before Money in the Bank, and I didn't get to catch it, but I was on Instagram because I was traveling, and I saw that Dom had gotten in the ring and started this beef with Octagon Jr. Is that his name? Yeah, Octagon Jr. I almost said the wrong thing because my brother-in-law kept calling him Octagon Jim, which is not right. I had predicted that Dom was going to retain his title. I was correct. I didn't think they were just going to give it at this point. I still think there's stuff with Finn. I don't think Finn is done with the title, so I don't think they're taking it off Dom unless Finn is getting it. I think. I hope. That's where I'd like to see this go, is there's more subterfuge and like stuff going on with Finn, and then like the real battle between Finn and Dom finally happens and the belt is involved. Maybe it's not. It doesn't need a belt, but I think that would be cool. Anyway, I very much enjoyed this match. I think Dom looked pretty good. I think everybody was looking good. They had panned to a couple of luchadors. I had never seen him before. I'm going to have to go back and watch Worlds Collide now. Mr. Iguana, the only thing I saw was his entrance. I tuned in very briefly on my phone while I was traveling, and I saw him he was crawling on all fours into the arena with an iguana in his mouth and two guys behind. It looked sick as hell. Whoever Mr. Iguana is, big fan already. I want to see more from him. I've never even seen him wrestle. I just love the concept. He just seems like a cool dude. So I want more of whatever he's having. Ooh, this next match was exactly how I hoped it would be. This was Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch for the Intercontinental title. I had pretty high expectations going into this match, and they were met. I know the story goes that Becky is Lyra's mentor. I think that is actually the case, and if so, you can tell these two work so well together. I do love the fact that Becky won. I actually love the fact that she won. And then it just like felt bad. You just didn't want Lyra to have to like admit defeat to this whole thing. But it was really good. It was very enjoyable, and it was one of the better matches in my mind. It was kind of one of the highlights for me of the night. So for the men's Money in the Bank match, we had Seth Rollins, LA Knight, Solo Sikoa, Andrade, Penta, El Grande Americano. For this one, everyone we were sitting with and everyone we were texting with, including myself, we predicted LA Knight to win this one, and we were really surprised actually that it ended up being Seth Rollins. There were a lot of really good moments in this match. Not only was the wrestling phenomenal, there was this one really terrifying but well orchestrated moment where El Grande Americano went up a ladder from the outside and then tipped on one that was on the inside and then went to the main ladder, and it was just like really well orchestrated. You could see Seth was supposed to be like, you know, taking a breather at the bottom, but he was helping the ladder along. It was cool to see something like that come together and be successful. Thank goodness, because that could have been really bad if he fell. The women's matches tend to be my favorite when there are two parallel women's and men's matches, and I think the women's match was great. I actually think I liked the men's match better this time. It started really funny already because they all were getting ready to like start the match. Seth ended up in the middle, and of course Seth has been stirring up shit for the last couple of weeks, and everyone got to kick the shit out of him. And then when Solo threw him over, there was this very comedic moment of Solo being like, ha ha ha, yeah, how about it, everybody? And then everyone was like, no, you're also about to get your ass kicked. Solo honestly has been just so on his game with this character he's at. He doesn't have to be completely 100% of the time hardcore. I think like he had to be with the Bloodline 2 storyline, so now he gets to play more into this comedic role, and I love him in it. Like, he's always been kind of that and very funny, but now he gets to be more of this played up character, and I think it's really working for him. Which, speaking of, I had been paying attention to the SmackDown prior to Money in the Bank, so I did see Solo shit-talking Jacob, and we thought we were going to get it for weeks, and we thought it was going to be Solo turning on Jacob for a while, and now, because Solo was talking shit, we have Jacob officially turning on Solo. So I'm excited to see where this goes. I think we all can kind of guess where it's about to go, but I love that it happened during the match. On top of that, we also had Seth calling out Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed and getting them to get involved in the match. So that was really fun to see. I will say poor Andrade was getting just the shit kicked out of him the whole time. Like, he had maybe one or two good moments where I was like, yeah, Andrade. And then he just kept getting thrown out of the ring or taking some sort of hit that was just like, ooh, I'm so sorry, bud. Anyway, I'm not sure what they're doing with Andrade. I hope that he gets more of a time to shine. It would have been cool to see him win, but I don't think it made any sense. I really thought it was going to be LA Knight. But you know, Seth should be interesting. I didn't think he needed a briefcase to be relevant or to, you know, have a shot at a title or anything, but I maybe foolishly am trusting in the WWE gods right now to just give us something interesting out of the storyline. And I don't know, we'll see how it plays out. That's how I end all of these. It's just like, we'll just see how it plays out. But like, what else can you do? And last but definitely not least, we had the tag team match between Logan Paul and John Cena versus Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso. I thought I wasn't going to enjoy this one because it started off really slow. I don't think this is specifically a John Cena thing. I think this is just the way that these matches keep playing out. But like every time there's a John Cena match, it's been a main event for the last couple PLEs. And it just feels like the pacing feels very slow, which I think is kind of strange. And maybe that is like calculated because it's like, oh, we only have so much time, or we have too much time, so we have to really drag this out. I will say they were making Jey look particularly weak. He was like on the ground more often than not. I know this is very much a suspense thing often when they're like trying to work it up so that when Cody finally gets in the ring, the crowd goes wild. I totally get it. It just felt a little excessive, a little slow. That's just me. I have ADHD. I don't know. I was bored for a minute there. It was fun to see, I think, what was an expected storyline of John and Logan both having a little bit of a tiff, which was, you know, I think it makes sense. Two men with a bit of an ego teaming up usually does not end well, so that was fun. And of course, the Logan Paul splash onto John Cena was just like the icing. It was the icing on the cake. It was so fun. I will say, as much as I say I don't like Logan as a person, he's a great athlete, and honestly, he looked pretty good. I feel like artistically, show-wise, however you theatrically, I don't know what you want to call it, I did really like the moment when Logan called back to the drone and then got flipped while holding the drone and then had a splash on top of that from Jey. That was just like a cool, fun camera angle. But all that to say, the absolute highlight of the night for me, and I think for a lot of people, was the return of R-Truth. And you know when like you can kind of guess who is getting in the ring to interfere? Like you have an inkling at least. I don't think anybody, at least no one I was watching with, no reactions I've watched online, no one was thinking R-Truth would be back because he was supposed to be gone. There was no other indication that he would come back for anything. It was such a huge pop. It was just like chills down the spine moment when he took off the hood. He had just laid out John Cena. It was fantastic. And this was a signal to everybody that like, oh my God, he's back. Like they listened to us, which I think was especially interesting because later in the after show, the post show, the interviews, whatever you call them, I don't know. Somebody asked Triple H about it and was like, hey, like just want you to comment on how did this happen? He was like, well, did you enjoy the show? It's all part of the show. Like kind of insinuating that this whole thing about releasing truth was a work. And I don't think I'm alone with saying, I don't believe you for a second, Paul. Triple H probably had an opportunity to be like, listen, we listened to you. We heard the fans loud and clear. You all wanted R-Truth back. Like, this is us listening to you and giving that to you. And instead he was like, actually, we're so big brain and we thought of this ourselves. So you're welcome. I don't know. Just kind of rubbed me the wrong way to sweep everything under the rug and be like, actually, it was all a work. We were just playing you, instead of just telling people, hey, we're listening. We get it. And like, I don't think that opens the door, you know, like somebody else gets released and people are upset. I don't think that means WWE has to take that person back, but to acknowledge that you listen to the fan base even one time, I don't think is as dangerous as they're thinking it is. So don't know what the creative decision there was. I'm happy R-Truth is back, or Ron Killings, however we are going to refer to him. But this was a really great way to end the show, and I think it made the entire thing completely worth it for me personally. So those are just my quick thoughts on Money in the Bank. Let me know what you thought in the comments down below. But that is it for me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye!